Welcome to Yankee Stadium and the 79th Major League Baseball All-Star Game. The fourth and final All-Star Game to be played at this historic ballpark. On the field are the National and American League All-Stars. And gathering by the left field monuments is one of the greatest collections of Hall of Famers ever assembled. Before we meet the American League All-Stars, let's hear what Hall of Famer George Brett said to them before they took the field tonight.
Played 20 years in the American League. Played in 13 All-Star games. And every time I get around the Mike Schmidts and the Pete Roses and the Johnny Benches of the world, they remind me that we won one time in 13 years. Now you guys are on a streak. You guys have won 11 years in a row. And the game means something now. Back then it didn't mean diddly. But it means something now. To some people in this room, they're going to have home field advantage in the World Series, and we all know how important that is. So go out there, Terry, play the game with respect. Don't try to be a hero. Try to be a winner.
Thank you, George. And now let's meet the American League All-Star team. From the Kansas City Royals, Joakim Soria. From the Los Angeles, as today's best take their positions, they will be joined by the living immortals of Cooperstown. It is only fitting that 49 Hall of Famers congregate tonight at this cathedral of baseball and take center stage at this final All-Star Game celebration in Yankee Stadium. George Brett. And up above here in the Bronx, tonight's aerial coverage brought to you by the DirecTV HD Starship. Get over 130 of your favorite channels in HD this summer, whether you're in Midtown or downtown or the Upper East Side or the Upper West Side, anywhere across this city and across this country. If you're tuned in, you're watching a classic game, this All-Star Game, 79th version of it, as Joakim Soria from the Royals takes over. As we are in the 11th inning, a 3-3 game, and the job that Aaron Cook just did to keep it 3-3 was remarkable.
And Joe, I don't think it's premature to ask the question, are we looking at another tie like we did in 2002 in Milwaukee?
Well, I know Bud Selig is here, and that would, on a night like this, be everybody's worst nightmare. But again, the American League is out of position players as Gonzalez is on to start the 11th. You can reinsert a catcher if someone were to get hurt. But there are no other position players available. And then pitching. The pitching is getting interesting because neither one of these two managers, whether it's Terry Francona of the Red Sox or Clint Hurdle of the National League side, want to turn a pitcher back to their team after the All-Star break. And I guarantee you that's at least been part of the conversation down in those dugouts, doing something that they shouldn't have been asked to do.
Right.
And it's not talking out of school to say that the Tampa Bay Rays wished and hoped that Scott Kazmir would not be used tonight in this game. He's with the Rays and obviously in the same division and only a half game behind Terry Francona's Boston Red Sox. He is one of the front men in that young rotation with the Rays. That means that the only other pitcher available to the AL, if you take Kazmir off the board, is George Sherrill, who's a closing left-hander with the Orioles, other than the man on the mound, Joakim Soria. That is it.
And Soria and Sherrill are both one-inning pitchers. Kazmir, by the way, was on the disabled list earlier in the year for about a month with Tampa Bay.
1 ball, 2 strikes on David Wright. Second at bat of the night for him, and he strikes out for the first out here in the 11th. So he's had 2 at bats, and he strikes out. He was the roster replacement for the injured Alfonso Soriano. There's Kazmir on the left and George Sherrill on the right. They're the only two left, and Terry Francona wants to go through this game and not use Scott Kazmir. Who knows if he will have that luxury and that choice to make.
Right.
1 on, 1 out. Guzman takes a strike over the inside corner. Christian was a pinch runner for Ramos Ramirez in the 9th and was caught stealing by Deoner Navarro to end the top of the 9th. So he gets his first chance to swing it. And he is in the hole 0-2. Guzman came into the break hitting .313, 7th best average in the National League, and number 1 in the National League with 126 hits. He pops one into right center field. Going to get it is Grady Sizemore. 2 out. Back to first is Gonzalez. He was there with nobody out. He's there with 2 out. And Corey Hart will walk to the plate. This week on Fox Saturday Baseball, the Red Sox visit the Angels. Padres take on the Cardinals, or the Phillies battle the Florida Marlins. Check local listings for the game in your area. Our coverage begins Saturday at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific in high def right here on Fox. Here's Corey Hart. Fly to right his first time up. He takes a ball from Soria. On deck is Ryan Ludwig. Some have left. Most have stayed here at Yankee Stadium as we are now playing into Wednesday morning. 12:11 on the scoreboard clock. 2-0 is the count on Corey Hart. Now that they've attached the significance of home field advantage being awarded to the winning league in the All-Star game, you start talking about ties.
I get your drift.
You're gonna have a home run hitting contest or what? 2-1 pitch, swung on and missed by Hart. 2-2.
Have a free kick.
To figure something out. Maybe a dance-off. But these managers don't want any part of where this thing is headed right now unless somebody pops one. And it won't be Corey Hart. He flips one into right. J.D. Drew waits for it. A leadoff hit by Gonzalez. He is left stranded. That is only 6 runners stranded on tonight by the NL. Bottom of the 11th, tied at 3. Coming up on 12:30 in the East. And Ryan Ludwig is first up for the National League against Joakim Soria. Ludwig and the Cardinals played a home-and-home with the Kansas City Royals this year, so these two have faced one another this season. The 1-0 pitch is shot foul off to the right. Mentioned earlier that Ryan Ludwig checks into this game with his 21 home runs. He's been on a tear since he found out he was headed to the All-Star game. He had been in a rut. He made the squad, and since then he has gotten hot again as he takes low in the count 2-1. Two-1 pitch is outside. 3-1 as Joakim Soria is asked to pitch another inning. He allowed a leadoff hit to Adrian Gonzalez in the 11th. Got around it. Aaron Cook into and out of trouble in the top of this, in the bottom of the 11th, and now Ryan Ludwig starts the top of the 12th for the walk. In a game that was absolutely flying by early, in the 79th All-Star game, Evan Longoria with a game-tying RBI double in the 8th. Adrian Gonzalez with a sac fly. J.D. Drew with a 2-run shot in the 7th. Here's McLeod getting a bunt down first base side. It's perfect. The shovel to first, safe. Kinsler a little late getting over, and the flip from Morneau was a little high, and McLeod hustling beat it.
There was a hesitation on Morneau's part because he thought that Soria was going to field the ball, but flying down the line was McLeod, and he is safe. Moment's hesitation on Morneau's part. I think he thought Soria was going to field the ball, and McLeod beats it for a hit.
So McLeod, who threw out Deanna Navarro at the plate moments ago in the bottom of the 11th inning, is on with a base hit following the walk. And now it's Russell Martin who has been a big piece of what's going on here tonight for the National League. He pushes a bunt to first. Morneau fields it. It may have gone foul, but he takes the out, and the runners advance to second and third.
And the National League's happy that Morneau made that decision, because that ball definitely goes foul if he lets it go. But of course, I guess you take the out like the 3 points in football. Take it.
So the feed to Kinsler going to the bag, and here's a better look at it right down the line. That ball checked and went right. But the play was made, and now Tejada, who's been outstanding both offensively, defensively, with his legs, stealing a base. He's done a little bit of everything. Will be intentionally passed to load him up.
And look who it's up to again.
Dan Uggla. There's ball 3. Brad Lidge is getting ready to try and close it if the National League grabs a 12th inning lead. So the bases are loaded. Uggla had a rough couple of moments earlier in this game. He took over in the 6th. As you look at this All-Star Game fact, this being the longest game with regard to time. But it was Uggla who came up in the 10th inning with first and third, one out, bounced into an inning-ending double play, and then moments later made back-to-back errors on a ball hit by Young. This one scorched by Quinton. Eventually the National League walked the bases loaded, and Aaron Cook did a fantastic job of getting out of it. And now Uggla goes after a high fastball and comes up empty, strike 1. Ludwig, the lead runner at third. McLeod and Tejada behind him. The 0-1. Strike 2 on Uggla. And Joakim Soria now trying to get out of trouble, with Adrian Gonzalez, a left-handed hitting first baseman, on deck. The 0-2. A breaking ball. Uggla fooled, and he strikes out for out number 2.
Talk about a knee buckler. Look at the knees of Dan Uggla. What a curveball from Soria.
And so now 2 out in the inning. Uggla slams his helmet down, and Terry Francona is going to make the walk out to the mound. Adrian Gonzalez is the lefty, and George Sherrill is going to come out of the bullpen for the American League. Who's left down there? Scott Kazmir. Bases loaded, top of the 12th. 2 out, tied at 3.